Hi, I'm Mick and I host the podcast Suicide Sucks, and I wanted to share with you my experience of kinesiology. Now, I'd never heard of kinesiology until my brother, Simon, started to train in it a few years back, and it coincided, no such thing as a coincidence, with a time in my life when I was suffering from 2 slip discs and sciatica. Now, I believe that physical pain was a manifestation of some emotional baggage that I hadn't dealt with. So I think that even though it was like 25 years after my other brother James's death to suicide, I think I'd still got a lot of grief and in particular anger about his death. And I truly believe that manifested itself as back pain and slip discs. Anyway, my brother Simon decided to use me as a bit of a guinea pig and came to visit and did a few sessions on me. Now, for those who have never heard of kinesiology, it is basically a therapy that looks at muscle monitoring and testing and tries to put the balance back into any issues that may come up. I always have to look at my notes for this bit because I want to get it right. So to look at what may cause imbalances in the body, and it attempts to relieve these imbalances. So it treats the whole body. So it looks at the physical, the emotional, the mental and spiritual health of the person. And it does that through lots of different things. It does it through acupressure, does it through lymphatic massage, that hurts. And it also looks at nutritional advice as well. And it was a whole new experience for me. At first, he couldn't even treat me because I was in so much pain. So I actually linked to my husband, John, and he would treat John through me. It was absolutely fascinating. There's lots of weirdness and I was quite cynical, if I'm honest, at first, because you would literally stand in front of him and he would get you to hold your arm out and push against his hand. And he'd say, hold. And it was all very weird, but, it was to do with testing your muscles. And then he would look at what things that you may have an intolerance to. So he would hold vials of things such as wheat or strawberries or nicotine or caffeine or whatever and test your muscles, and he'd be able to... I know it sounds like quite out there, but anyway, it worked for me. And I want to tell you about one of the emotional aspects of it. So we did this meditation. So he does lots of things on you, the lymphatic massage as well, rubbing to get the lymph moving in your body. Oh God, that really, really hurt. Still does now when I do it if I've got a migraine. Anyway, but the emotional side of it, well, it just blew me away. So obviously it was quite weird because it's my brother, but anyway, we got through it. So he got me to lie down on his, obviously, couch thing, whatever they're called. And he took me, in this meditation, he talked me all the way through it. And basically said to me, right, what I want you to do is I want you to imagine that you have got a body of armour all over you. You're covered in armour like a knight. And he said, and what I want you to do is I want you to take each piece of this armour and throw it on the floor. So, before he did this, he asked me to looked at how I was feeling, and he said, when you think about when you lie here and think about a feeling, what feeling is your strongest feeling? And it was anger. So I said anger, and it was obviously all about my other brother James, who'd taken his own life. So we established that I was angry, and then imagined the body armour, took each piece off one at a time and had to throw it on the floor, discarding it. And then he said, right, so now you're standing there and you've got the last piece in your hand, throw that on the floor as well. There's a big pile of metal armour. So I did that. And he said, right, stay with me. But what we're going to do now is we're going to light that armour. So I was visualising all this, and we lit a match, and I set fire to the pile of metal armour, suspending my disbelief. And gradually the armour, he was saying, right, it's burning now, and it's reducing in size, it's getting smaller and smaller, it's disappearing into the earth, it's being absorbed into the earth until there's, just a little drop left, and now it's completely gone. So then he said, how do you feel and stuff? And he said, right, what I want you to do now is I want you to try as hard as you can to conjure up that feeling of anger. And I just burst into hysterics because like massive hysterics. I couldn't stop, tears streaming. And he said, what are you laughing for? I said, don't you? He said, well, what is it? What are you laughing for? I said, don't you? And I was like, I can't. And however hard I tried in that moment, I could not conjure up that feeling of anger surrounding James. It literally wasn't there. And he was in hysterics. We were both in hysterics. And it really was just mind-blowing. Now, I was booked in for a microdiscectomy operation not long after that. And after I'd had that last session, I gradually started to improve. And I ended up cancelling the operation. And I am convinced that it was to do with those sessions that I had with Simon. I honestly believe that the emotional stress, anger that I was going through had manifested itself in my body until I bloody well did something about it. So, if nothing else is working for you, I tried everything before that, but if nothing else is working for you, give it a go. What have you got to lose? Anyway, thanks for listening.